Highlights of Day 9 of the impeachment trial for Sara Duterte. On this day, the defense conducted cross-examination of the witness, NBI Director Melvin Matibag. One of the weaknesses of the prosecution's case is the failure of the NBI to identify the executor of VP Inday's alleged grave threat. Director Matibag admitted that despite recommending the filing of grave threats and inciting to sedition against VP Inday, 14 months thereafter, they have still not been able to identify the alleged. And despite claiming that they have leads, Director Matibag says they still need another 3 to 6 months to identify the person VP Sara allegedly contracted. This prompted Senator Judge Amy Marcos to question the existence of a contract if the person supposed to execute that contract could not yet be identified. Under questioning also by presiding officer Chis Escudero, Director Matibag could not state with any clarity if any money had been actually paid to the person being contracted by VP Inday, if any. Neither could Director Matibag provide any details or description of the person allegedly being contracted by VP Inday, could not provide a background, describe the relationship, or any kind of other detail. The defense likewise highlighted that the NBI seemed to fail to conduct certain standard investigative procedures, such as issuing a subpoena to the primary suspect, VP Inday herself. According to Director Matibag, it was because VP Inday ignored previous subpoenas issued by his predecessor. Neither did they issue any subpoenas to former House Speaker Martin Romualdez or the vlogger known as Princess Maui, who brought up the issue of Operation Romanov. In fact, Director Matibag even admitted that there was no crime that they could allege and therefore could not issue a subpoena. They issued only invitations to other so-called witnesses. According to Director Matibag, there is no crime committed when there is just a plan until it's executed. The testimony also relied on an unverified, unsigned, unnotarized document attributed to Arturo Las Cañas, the infamous person who claims that he is a DDS, or a member of the Davao Death Squad. Director Matibag was attempting for the prosecution to establish a so-called pattern of violence. However, Director Matibag admitted that they never even subpoenaed Arturo Las Cañas to verify the claims that were made in his own affidavit. While Senators Judges Panfilo Lacson and Robin Padilla pointed out that Las Cañas himself is a known perjurer and has changed his testimony several times. In previous Senate hearings, the NBI attempted to use a 15-year-old video showing then Mayor Sara Duterte hitting a sheriff, which prompted Senator Judge Bongo to give context to the alleged incident. Then Mayor Sara Duterte was pleading with the sheriff for a 2-hour delay in the demolition of informal settlers while she assisted victims of a flash flood that had killed over 30 people. At one point, Director Matibag was even claiming that a Rage Coalition rally was proof of a kinetic force of destabilization allegedly caused by VP Sara's utterances. However, Director Matibag was also compelled to admit that VP Sara was not even present at that rally. And really, kinetic force? It seems that it is Director Matibag's theory that VP Inday's alleged grave threats have caused more people to make statements against the president and created rallies across the country. Meanwhile, Senator Judge Pia Cayetano confronted Director Melvin Matibag with his varying statements on the deployment of NBI agents to the GSIS building during the so-called Senate siege. She reminded Attorney Matibag that a witness may be impeached if their general reputation for truth is bad. She even suggested that the deployment of agents to the Senate building, shared with GSIS, was and seems to be an intimidation tactic. Senator Judge Robin Padilla also reminded Director Matibag of his reputation as a political operator. as well as a former campaign manager for PDP Laban and former presidential aspirant Mar Rojas. In doing so, Senator Judge Padilla subtly cast doubt on the impartiality of Director Matibag in conducting his investigation, particularly against the Vice President. In all, it seems that the prosecution has suffered a major hit in their presentation of Director Matibag, considering all of the issues that have been raised against him, as well as the inconsistencies in the investigation conducted by the NBI against the Vice President. Trial will resume on July 29, concentrating then on Article 1, which is confidential funds. Witnesses will be former Land Bank managers Violeta Constantino and Nenita Camposano. This has been Luminous.